Hello and welcome back to the Warwick F1 show. You might not have heard us on the air last week. Of course, we had the Raw Stonewall 72 hours, I think it was, wasn't it, Will?
Yes, 72 hours of continuous broadcasting, including 3 overnights, which I think the rest of my exec completely loved.
Yes, they seemed like they had a bit of fun, but no, we're back. We gave you the, at least on our Spotify and on our YouTube, we gave you the Black History Month special, which we did a very long time ago, and then I had a bit of an issue with editing it. So I went back over that and we released that for you. So we hope you enjoyed that. But we're back with the normal programming now. The 2021 season's over. Looking forward to 2022 a little bit. And this week's episode kind of plays into it. We're going to look at some teams. We're going to propose ourselves an 11th team each, but I couldn't do that alone, of course. So I've got my perpetual co-host here. We've got Chinmay in the studio. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to it. You?
Yeah.
Got your team ready?
Oh yeah.
Good. We've got a recurring guest for the first time this year as well. Kavin joined us for the second week. I can't even remember exactly what the show was, but you loved it so much you're back again.
Yeah, I'm back. It was the top 10 race of the season.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
And we've got our first time... You can use that mic as well.
Okay.
We've got 4 mics back, it's nice. We've got our first time guest as well. We've got Elijah in the studio as well. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. Nice to be here.
Good. So we're going to crack on pretty quickly, I think. So just to recap, what's going to happen is everybody's going to propose an 11th team for the Formula 1 grid for 2022. Of course, we can't actually put an 11th team there, but we'd love to see more drivers, right? So what's going to happen is they're going to tell us the team name. They're going to give us like a full pitch on this. They're going to give colour, kind of a rough idea, and I want a decent description of their livery as well, right? If we have to look it up or whatever it takes, we'll do that. 2 drivers who are not on the F1 grid, but who are also not retired or dead or anything. We can't pull back Juan Manuel Fangio and Jim Clark. We've got to be realistic about adding our team. Yeah, laugh all you like, Will, we know. And then I want an engine manufacturer as well. Now, I was tempted to ask for that team principal, but I think we'll nominate ourselves as team principals. That's how this works. And then at the end of the episode, at the end of the hour, we'll vote on who we think's the best, what team that we're going to stump up that $200 million entry fee for and go for maybe 2023. So we'll start off with Chinmay, I think. Go on. What have you got for your team? Give us the full pitch.
Well, my team I'm going to choose as Toyota Gazoo Racing. Kind of like almost as if they're like doing an extra branch from the Endurance Championship and the Rally Championship cars. It will have that sort of same, but like white, greyish livery with the red and black streaks all over it, kind of reminiscent of the LMP cars that they use as well. And then I think for my drivers, I think I chose Oscar Piastri because he has to be on that grid. I don't know how. I just want that guy to be on the grid as soon as possible. And I thought the second person I'll choose was Nico Hülkenberg because he's a reliable driver. He'll deliver results, especially for a first year for a team. And then the engine, I think Toyota will probably make their own. They are the largest car manufacturer in the world, and they didn't make their own cars when Toyota was last in the sport. Also, honourable mention to the team principal being Timo Glock.
Is that
excellent? It will be Glock, yeah. All right, so Toyota have been in F1, of course, before. When did they leave? Was it 2010?
2010.
Yeah. So who were their last drivers? It must have been... So Glock was there in 2008. Was he still there in 2010?
Trulli, I think.
Trulli, was he?
Yeah, 2009.
2009?
Yeah, 2009 was the last year.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And
No, I think it must have still been Glock and Trulli.
Okay, yeah.
I think they're probably a bit old to come back to it now. Yeah, so that's an interesting one, but I like that. That's kind of an old team, but it's kind of realistic because they're still in LMP and still got a good motorsport presence. So I like that. Elijah, are you ready with yours as well?
I am ready.
Go on then. So we've got Toyota Gazoo Racing for Chinmay. We'll see what we've got under the hood for under the covers for Elijah.
So I went for Jordan. Reason being was that when my dad first came to the country, the first team he supported was actually Jordan. And that was because obviously Damon Hill was driving for them. So I was like, Oh, can you not hear me?
No, a little bit closer.
Oh, okay. So I'm really sorry. Okay, I'll say
That's
that
all right.
again.
Keep going.
So I went for Jordan, F1. I said the reason being is that when my dad first came to the country, that was like the first team that he supported. Obviously, Damon Hill was driving for them. And so one race he always tells me about is Belgium 1998, when there's like 6 cars finished and Damon Hill came through to win. And I also really liked their sort of yellow livery. I feel like that, I want that back on the grid. But I went for yellow, but I also wanted to add some light blue in there. So like, one of my favorite liveries was the 2006 Renault livery. So like, picture that, but just yellow as a dominant color, basically. So I went for, as my drivers, I went for De Vries and Hulkenberg. De Vries, because I think he's never had a chance in F1, of course, and I feel like he should have had a chance by now. I mean, obviously, he's won the F2 championship, went to Formula E and won with Mercedes there as well. He's 27 now, I think, I don't think he will get a chance in F1, but I really would like to see him get that chance. And obviously, alongside him, Nico Hulkenberg, who's a very solid, dependable driver, had been for many years. Unfortunate to be out of the sport, but for a new F1 team, like Chinmay said, just a solid driver who can come in and get good results. And an engine manufacturer, I went for Honda. I mean, if I was a smart person, I'd go for the Mercedes engine, but just because Jordan used to go with a Honda engine anyway.
This is a labour of love. We don't want to go and win the championship. Yeah. And if we did, you probably wouldn't pick Jordan anyway, would you? They were not. They weren't that good. But no, it was okay. Do you want to do a team principle? I feel like Chinmay said it now. It could, you've got your Damon Hill if you want that.
Okay, I want my team to be full of frauds, so I'm going for Briatore.
Okay.
As many frauds as I can get in the team. Get Eddie Jordan back in as well.
Yeah, that team's still on the grid at the moment, isn't it? It was slid its way into Force India and then eventually came Aston Martin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. I like the yellow livery. I was really disappointed when the Renault left the grid and we got another blue one.
Me too.
So I'm a big fan of that. What do you guys think of the 2005-2006 livery for Renault?
For Renault, yeah, one of the best ones. I think it shouldn't work like yellow and blue. Like realistically, those colours shouldn't work together, but they made it work somehow, and it is quite iconic. Like you think to those years, like Alonso winning the titles both times. It is one of those ones you look back on and say that is an iconic F1 livery.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be allowed the Benson and Hedges anymore, because that was kind of an integral part of their livery as well. But I'm pretty sure that's a cigarette manufacturer, right? Yeah, and how are Mission Winnow allowed in? Like, isn't there some like pain
Ferrari vibes?
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
I can't remember if they entirely disallowed or not. But would you bring that back, or would you like just chuck in a different sponsor in there? I don't know.
No, I'd bring it back, actually.
Okay.
I would bring it back.
All right, so we've got our two. I'll run them through again, and then we'll take a short break. So we had, from Chinmay, the Toyota Gazoo Racing in the lovely black, white and red, kind of similar to the prototype.
Yes, the Yaris, the LP ones and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then the two we've got to think about, Oscar Piastri and Nico Hulkenberg coming together, and then obviously Toyota are going to make their own engine with Timo Glock as the potential team principal. And then from Malaysia we got the Jordan F1 entry coming back in. Do you think it'd beat Aston Martin? Do you think if you entered Jordan now they could beat Aston Martin? That'd be funny.
That would be funny.
And then we've got
drivers then, to be fair. So.
Yeah, we've got a yellow and blue livery, a bit like the old Jordan, but with blue in as well to make that reminiscent of the old Renault. And then we've got Nick de Vries, Nico Hulkenberg again. Is he going to be pretty popular? You guys got that? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I haven't got Hulkenberg.
Okay. And then we've got the Honda engine and Flavio Briatore in the car. So let's give a little thing. What of those two would you rather see on the grid wall?
So I think Jordan. I think Toyota, they're doing a lot of stuff. Like obviously they've got the LMP-H now class coming in. I think they do rallying as well. it's one of those like motorsport dynasties. So, and you don't see Jordan they're like a bit. They were sort of like a Williams in a way, like a independent manufacturer coming into the sport. They didn't have as much success as Williams, but they had those high points, and that yellow livery, I think, could really stand out on the grid.
Okay, what about you, Kavin? Do you reckon you go for the big manufacturer or the private one? You can use either mic.
Which mic?
They're both working. So.
Yeah,
Okay. I think I go for Toyota because I think I always prefer like a bigger name. Like Alfa Romeo Sauber is still Sauber, but we all call them Alfa Romeo just because it's like cooler. So I go for Toyota. They weren't really that good last time around, so it'll be interesting to see what they could do this time around.
Okay, well, we've got our first two. We're going to have 5 in total. And then after the break, we'll throw for another couple. And then I guess we're going to have a big argument right at the end, see who comes out on top. Before that, though, this is How Do I Know by Thomas Heaton. And welcome back to the Warwick F1 show. Apologies for the mild technical issues there, but I hope you enjoyed 90% of that song. We're going through some teams that we'd like to add to the F1 grid next year. So putting that 11th team out there. So we've gone through Chinmay's entry. He proposed the Toyota Gazoo Racing, and we've had Elijah's entry as well, Jordan F1. And those are two pretty historical teams. So we're going to go straight. I'm just going to launch straight into it. Kavin, give us your full pitch. Go for it.
I'm going for Porsche. They're quite a big name, and they're part of the Volkswagen group who are like interested in entering F1, and like they're the most rumored of the teams to be coming like anytime soon. So my drivers is going to be Nico Hülkenberg again, and this time Patricio O'Ward. So I went for Hülkenberg because like I think he'd reject the offers from Toyota and Jordan for Porsche because he won the Le Mans with Porsche. So, and he's also German, so I think it all makes sense for him to go there. And Patricio O'Ward, I like Mexican racing drivers, and he's only 22. He has done like really well in IndyCar, Indy Lights. So yeah, I think he's got like loads of potential, and I think he would have been in a contention for like a McLaren seat had they not got two like really good drivers. So yeah, I think like one rookie and one experienced driver is like the best way forward. For the colours, their usual Porsche colours are like red, black, and white. I'd like some light green sort of livery because I think that's like missing from the grid. But that could be like a special one-off livery in like the German Grand Prix if that ever comes back. But so the team principal, I've not really thought of that one yet. But
I'll give you a minute for that.
Let's go for Jean Todt. He came to Warwick, so I recommend him. Give him a shout out. Yeah, we'll bring him back. He denied that he was going to Ferrari during that talk. Even though somebody asked him
said
that.
Nothing about Porsche.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Or Bob Fernley. I think wasn't he really good at like Force India? And ever since he's left, like I think they've gone a bit downhill with Otmar. And wait, what's this new guy called again? It's got a funny name.
It's Mike Crack.
Mike Crack, yeah. Yeah.
His parents hate him.
So we'll go for Bob Fernley for that one. And for the engine wise, I think I'll go for Mercedes just for 2 years. And then Porsche can like develop the engine like behind closed doors. Because the reason they wanted to like enter Formula One now is because of like the hybrid era. So that would obviously be like a big pull for them joining. So yeah, I don't think there's anything more to add.
So just to clarify, Mercedes now and then like Porsche like 2 or 3 years in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So what about their livery? Are you thinking like Formula E style and it's like very blocky, or what do they have in? I mean, Le Mans at the moment, when they enter GT cars, it's just like plain white.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really want to keep something like that.
They used to have it was like grey and red and white on their GT E and GT Pro class cars at Le Mans. I'm just trying to think now.
That's why Porsche got so many good liveries.
Yeah, so many different like road cars. Like
well, they ran the Golf livery on the 917. I want to say
917 had the livery.
There was the pink pig livery as well.
Yeah, that's a famous one, and they got the Rothmans one as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they've been recently sponsored by Martini, so they could bring back like the one that Williams had.
That'd be
That'll be
That
really
livery
good.
was good.
Yeah,
I always thought it was a bit underrated.
yeah, I loved it.
They got a lot of choices for that anyway. What do you guys think about that, Will?
No, it's a good choice. I think it's arguably of the four we're going to say the most realistic to happen, especially because I think the Volkswagen Group won't chuck two manufacturers into there, and Porsche maybe seems the most likely, or they might go Audi and keep Porsche for their sports car side.
Chinmay, you got any, what do you reckon? Is that a good competition for your entry?
Oh yeah, no, that's a good choice. I mean, I think to be fair, Porsche was my second choice, but I feel like because Porsche is probably the most realistic, more realistic one to happen, and Toyota I kind of feels like I feel a bit more passionate about. I don't know why.
Okay. What about you, Elijah?
Yeah, I like it. I also like driver choice, Patricio Award. That's left field. It's good.
Yes, let's talk about Pato. He's IndyCar at the moment, but he got that drive, of course, with McLaren. Do you think he's likely to be in F1 anytime soon, or go for it, Chinmay?
Well, I'm hoping he does, because I mean he has got speed, and especially with the way that McLaren is throwing behind, I'm just hoping that somehow the FI can recognise IndyCar a bit more in the super license points, and he will become available because he is on the radar of, especially over McLaren, because like he is doing really well. McLaren, he's only 22. He's got a lot of raw pace, and he can definitely compete. I would say he can compete with a lot of the F1 drivers today. So I'm hoping he really does get into it.
Elijah?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think obviously Ricardo's at an age now where he probably has a few more years, and then he might be out the sport. So McLaren probably preparing for that. I think the most likely choice would be O'Rourke. I think if he doesn't get into McLaren, then there's just no other way he'd get into the sport because there's so much competition elsewhere, and you've got so many drivers waiting for the opportunity. Drivers, 18-year-olds, Paul Scher, are waiting for their chance. So, but hopefully he does get a chance.
If there's a chance, like I've already suggested one team, but like a Carlos Slim Mexican team, Team Mexico, because like I don't know, Perez's future at Red Bull won't be for much longer, I'd say, and him and O'Ward, and Slim is like one of the richest people in the world, so I'm pretty sure he could fund like a really good team.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna do mine now. I'm gonna leave Will till later, I'm gonna go not completely left field. It's gonna sound immediately completely left field, but it's not. I'm gonna go Ducati. Now they're not a car manufacturer, which is like the immediate first thing you think, but there's so many reasons why they're not likely to. Of course they're not, but why it makes more sense than it initially seems. Number one, they were sponsored by F1 last year. They've got a badge on there. I have no idea why. I don't know what they're hoping to gain from that. I swear there's a technical partnership. Number two, they're owned by Lamborghini, which is VW Group, right? And Kavin's just proven that we want to get them in there, and there's been a lot of talk about that recently. Number three, they're sponsored by Mission Winnow, so we've got some Ferrari back in there. So I'm going to go with Ducati, and I'm going to pass around my phone because I've got what I think's their nicest livery, but it's a bit Ferrari style. But if you remember back to I can't remember exactly what episode we called it, but like all the best and worst looking cars, that one from last year. We talked about one of the best looking cars was that red and black Ferrari from the 80s.
You've just stolen my idea.
Oh, I know. Okay, so I'm going to pass around my phone, and it's got their best livery on it. But essentially, if you
that's
just
a good one, actually.
if you just Google Ducati MotoGP and then I think Mission Winnow, it's like the first one that comes up.
It's very 2019 Ferrari.
It is that.
It's very my design that I was going to go for.
Oh well, I've got in there nice and quick. So for drivers, I'm going to go full Italian. I'm going to steal Antonio Giovinazzi, and then I'm going to go for Valentino Rossi. Now he drove for Ferrari and Mercedes in various tests throughout the years, and he always said he was going to, there was links to him with F1 for quite a while. He never went there, but he's retired now, so I reckon like 2 or 3 years in F1, and he'll bring interest to the sport. That's my goal.
How old is Valentino Rossi?
He's like 43 or something.
Oh my gosh.
He's quite old. He's Kimi old, and Kimi's just retired. But I couldn't
the oldest
miss the
rookie ever in F1.
Yeah. I'm gonna put the Lamborghini engine in there. I'm just gonna make sure that's kind of like the link to the actual car manufacturer side of things. And for team principal, now their current team principal is a guy called Claudio Domenicali. However, annoyingly, he's not actually related to Stefano. If that was there, it would have been like the greatest like out of nowhere thing ever. But I'm gonna switch it over to Stefano Domenicali because he also was the CEO of Lamborghini at one point. So that's mine. Immediate thoughts will go.
No, it's good. It is an out there prediction. Like, I don't know how. I'm not up to date with MotoGP, so I don't know how dominant Ducati are. But if they are owned by VW Group, then they might not throw their Porsche, Audi in there, and instead go for, I guess, a team that hasn't really had much, I guess, four-wheel racing experience especially in F1.
I think they were second and third in the drivers the riders championship last year, but I don't think they won the constructors either. How about you, Elijah?
What I would say is don't expect too much success because other than the worst Ferrari team, the other Ferrari-powered cars have no success at all. I think the last win was like Kobayashi in the Sauber, I think. So, or the last podium, sorry. So
yeah,
I'm
putting Lamborghini in there, and Ferrari's only just like it might be like a second team for Ferrari, but I'll put the Lamborghini engine in it.
Yeah, that sounds good to be fair. Yeah.
How about you, Kavin? Any thoughts? Got any MotoGP knowledge or?
Not really, but I think it would be a good idea because I think Sauber probably come back and get rid of the Alfa Romeo sponsorship pretty soon. So if like Ferrari want a B team to put the young drivers, especially with Alfa Romeo this year harbouring none of them, be a good idea.
Okay, well, we'll go over the four that we've got so far. So we started off with Chinmay in his Toyota black, white, red, and he had Piastri and Hulkenberg with Timo Glock as the principal. Good old meme there. Then Elijah came in with Jordan F1 with the yellow and blue livery, Nick de Vries and Nico Hulkenberg, and then he put the Honda engine in and went with Flavio Briatore. Kavin came in with a Porsche, which probably is red, black and white, but they've got so many good liveries they could choose from. He's gone with Nico Hulkenberg, Pato Award. They start off with the Mercedes engine, and then you can definitely go for Bob Fernley over Jean Todt.
Yeah, I'll go for Bob Fernley.
Yeah, okay. And then I've proposed Ducati with the red and black livery, Antonio Giovinazzi, Valentino Rossi, put a Lamborghini engine in there to make it as Italian as possible, and then Stefano Domenicali as the team principal. So we've got one more team. Will's apparently I've stolen his livery idea.
I have to change my livery.
Are you gonna? Oh no, I've ruined it. So after the break, we'll be going over that, and then as a five, I might throw a meme one in. I've got a meme one I made as well, but we'll decide which of those we're going to add to the 2022 calendar, assuming that. Us and the listeners at home can help us stump up however many hundreds of millions of pounds we need to do that. Until then, here is I haven't loaded it. Tuio by Ariel and the Culture. And welcome back to the F1 show. We're here for the third, not quite final segment. We've got one team left. Just before we do that, just a reminder, we've got Toyota, we've got Jordan, we've got Ducati, and we've got Porsche potentially coming back. All right, we've got to choose which of those. But Will's going to add his own proposal to the mix as well, and I hope I haven't thrown your plans into chaos.
No, I've made it work. Okay. So I'm gonna go with Brabham. Nice blast from the past there. I think they left the sport in the 90s, but really had their heyday in the 60s and 70s. Bring them back. Classic Australian team. And for the Australian team, we're bringing two Antipodean drivers. So, obviously, from Australia, the one, the only Oscar Piastri. Get him on the grid. That's what we want to see. And then, rather than going, you've all gone for an experienced one in Nico Hulkenberg. I'm going for youth. I'm going for Liam Lawson from New Zealand. F2 driver. Both F2 drivers there. I think that could be a really, really good lineup. Oh, livery wise, I think I'm going to go for the classic Brabham livery. Like I think it was their 80s cars had the white stripe down the middle, the blue on either side. I'm going to change it to black and maybe put some stars, like red and white stars, to signal like the Australian and New Zealand heritage in there. Engines, a bit more difficult. I know they normally had BMW engines in their heyday, so obviously BMW maybe not on the grid, so maybe Renault, maybe Mercedes, but I think, like you said, going into 2025, going for that Porsche drivetrain, I think that, especially because they're a new engine, it could go really well for Brabham. And then a team principal. Now, this is I can't think of any Australian team principals. I mean,
Mark Webber, maybe.
Oh, that's a good shout.
I think he'd have a role in the team. Yeah. Maybe not principal. So maybe I'll go like Ottmar Schnaffnauser. Like, how do you say his surname? Zafna. Yeah.
Immediately corrected by everyone.
I'll go for Ottmar. I think he was sort of hamstrung by the regulation changes that happened this year. Maybe the Aston Martin wasn't as bad as it probably should have been, but maybe he was hamstrung. Mark Webber having a role in the team as well. Have I missed anything?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Just remind everyone of your livery again, because I was
on the very old style or like the 70s Brabham liveries were like white stripe down the middle, blue on either side. I'm going to change that to black. I'm a sucker for a black livery, as I've always said. The Mercedes this year and last year look amazing, so I'm going to go for that. Change the blue to the black, and then maybe a few stars here and there to like signify the Australian and New Zealand flags.
Lovely. And of course you got that. Probably Mercedes are switching to silver. Let's talk about it now, because if we don't talk about it now, we'll never talk about it. Are they going to switch back to silver or not, Mercedes, this year?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't want them to. I like that car. All right, I've always said that car looks like the bad guy, and I'm happy to support the bad guy.
I'm really hoping they go along the style of the old McLaren livery, and they just like half like matte black and just half like
I love that.
Silver shinies. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Okay then, what do you guys think of Will's proposal? Brabham bringing it back, is that too long ago, or is that like viable now?
They can be a good like number 2 team for us, because they're using our engine. So I'll send them some of our young drivers. Mark Webber being the number 2 again. It's classic.
You're gonna bring a Piastri to
Yeah.
Oh, that's cruel.
2 teams in F1. 2 new teams.
Yeah, we only allowed one. We were only allowed to enter one, or we could just like put all 5 in there. What do you reckon, Chinmay?
No, that's a really good choice, actually. Only difference, I would not put Ottmar as the principal. I'm just personally not a big fan of Ottmar, but yeah, especially with Liam Lawson and Oscar Piastri, 2 amazing young drivers. We can't go wrong with that.
Lovely. So I think we'll make a decision now, and then I'll put the meme team just as a side note, because I love it. So Chinmay went with Toyota Gazoo Racing, the black, white and red LMP style with Piastri and Hulkenberg. Toyota themselves are going to produce the engine, and Timo Glock is the team principal. Elijah went for the Jordan F1, yellow and blue with a little bit of a change, so it looks a bit more like the Renault livery from 2005-2006. Put Nick de Vries in the car, also Nico Hulkenberg, and go with the Honda engine. Flavio Briatore as the team principal. We got Kavin with the Porsche, red, black and white, and again, we're kind of undecided on a livery, but there are so many good ones. Nico Hulkenberg and Pato Award, going with a Mercedes engine to start with, and then transition to that Porsche. You getting Brabham to test out your engine, are you?
Yeah.
A bit like AlphaTauri with, or I suppose it was Toro Rosso at the time with Honda. With Bob Fernley as the team principal there. I proposed Ducati with that red and like very dark red and black livery. Get Giovinazzi and Valentino Rossi in there, with Lamborghini and Stefano Domenicali to make it full Italian. And then Will's gone for Brabham with the old Brabham livery. Just make it sleek black instead. Put some red and white stars on there to make sure it's proper Australian/New Zealand. And he's gone for the F2 drivers that represent that as well: Oscar Piastri and Liam Lawson, and then the Porsche engine with Otmar Safnauer as team principal. So I think we're going to say you can't vote for your own team, and I'm just going to go around one by one, and we reckon what do you think is the best out of the other four? We'll start with you, Elijah.
Yeah, sure. I really like the Brabham choice. I love the livery as well, the idea of the stars in Australia, New Zealand. And obviously bringing in the two rookie drivers as well, Piastri and Lawson, is really nice. I think that's the most creative one, so I'm going to go for Brabham.
All right. Chinmay next. Who do you reckon?
I was thinking between Brabham and Jordan, but I think I might go for the Jordan because I feel that's a little bit more. It's sort of like the one. Jordan's a team that I think I just like to support. It's like sort of like underdog team I like to support, and it would be nice to have a team like Jordan back in the sport like that.
Kavin, have you got a favourite other than yours?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Ducati because Valentino Rossi, that's something out of the box.
Okay, I wasn't actually expecting any votes for that. And Will, what about you?
I think I'm going to have to go Jordan as well. I agree with what Chinmay said, like the underdog team. There was always like Jordan and Stewart in the 90s and the early 2000s. The races they won were always the memorable ones, and it was always nice to see it. Maybe it's a bit less likely today. Obviously, reliability is so much more, but who knows? We could get another Hungary. We could get the top 10 cars all being bowed out, and then someone from the back could come and win it.
Mazepin comes through to win his first race in F1.
I think 19 cars could retire and Mazepin somehow still wouldn't win.
I'm gonna cast my vote right at the very start. I like the Toyota. I like the fact they're still involved in the in other motorsport as well, and that kind of links in there. I think we need more WEC entries to come to Formula One. So we'll see that. So I mean, Jordan's got 2 votes, so I think probably are we all like reasonably happy with bringing back the minnows?
As long as it's that yellow livery, I'm happy.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. What about drivers? We've got Nick De Vries and Nico Hulkenberg. Would you suggest any improvements? Do you want those F2 drivers in there, Will?
I think having maybe one younger one probably over De Vries.
Yeah, I agree.
And then waiting a few years, because obviously Hulkenberg's not going to be around for that long. So waiting a few years, and then you can go like 2 sort of younger drivers. So maybe like a Piastri or something like that.
Yeah. Who else put Piastri? Chinmay did. What do you reckon? You need him in there, or?
I reckon I'll put Piastri over De Vries because I feel like Piastri really needs to be on that grid. And De Vries is already having success in Formula E, so...
Yeah, this show just turns into De Vries.
Yeah.
It's so bad. I really like De Vries.
Not degrading how good of a driver he actually is, but I just feel Piastri needs that seat a bit more.
What about Schwartzman?
Yeah. Nah, I don't think so. Last season was poor.
I think he's just been lost in the... He's one of those that's has been lost in the shuffle and probably won't get out. No, it'll go sports cars or Indy. I think IndyCar these days is a lot more viable option. That's probably where a lot of drivers are going to end up staying, like Callum Ilott, for example.
And let's decide. Final thing. We'll let you have the Honda, but team principal. Are you gonna? Who would you propose, Chinmay?
Maybe, I mean, if it was possible to bring Eddie Jordan back himself, but
Yes, yeah.
but then I think I would probably go for like a former driver, like Damon Hill or Eddie Irvine or something like that. That might seem
Damon Hill would
good.
be good. Bring him back.
What about you, Elijah? You got the Jordan vote itself.
I mean, yeah, obviously I did Briatore as more of a joke per se, but I like if you could bring Eddie Jordan back, that'd be great, honestly.
No, I cast my vote for Eddie Jordan as well. He's a great personality. I'm gonna throw out the meme team. I think it would be great. I want a little bit of contribution as well. But how about Rich Energy F1 bringing them back?
I mean, to be fair, the livery was really nice.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing I will say.
Okay.
I prefer that Haas livery to the one now.
I mean, yeah, the one now is garbage, but...
Yeah. I mean, so I guess some other honourable mentions could be Penske. I was going to mention them, but I completely forgot to, obviously. Coming from America. Maybe having another American team.
Yeah, Ford.
In
I
F1.
think
Ford
yeah, because
well.
then you could bring Cosworth back as well.
I want those
anyway,
Cosworth engines.
who drivers? Like, what are the meme drivers?
Maldonado, 100%.
Lord and Saviour Mahavir Raghunathan.
That'd be Mazepin and Maldonado.
Yeah, we missed Maldonado. I mean, that guy was just too funny.
What does he do these days?
I don't know.
Julian Palmer.
He's just.
Julian Palmer.
Yeah, he's alert on street circuits.
You got to be aware on a street circuit.
Yeah.
And then I think probably Gunter Steiner's like the epitome of a meme team principle. So that's there. If we get 200, if everyone donates about 100 million each, then we'll get Jordan F1 back in the grid for next year. We'll take a break. After the break, we're gonna go over some predictions for my guests. Kavin's already had a go, so we'll throw it to Chinmay. We've got to get ourselves in there as well. But until then, here is Sidewalks by The Weeknd. Welcome back to the final segment of the Warwick F1 show. We've finished our regular programming, and we're going to finish off with some 2022 predictions. We've got Elijah, and we're going to do it for Chinmay as well. So we've already explained what the deal is, but pretty much I'm just going to ask you the predictions, and you're going to throw them nice and quick at me. So we'll start with Elijah, and we'll go for who you think is going to be the drivers' champion.
Drivers' champion of 2022 will be Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Okay, constructors.
Mercedes.
Okay, and who do you think is going to win the most driver of the days?
Max Verstappen.
Okay, same questions for you, Chinmay. Drivers' champion.
I'll go Lewis Hamilton as well.
Okay. Constructors?
I'm going to chuck in Ferrari for a change.
Okay. And then most driver of the days?
Checo.
Okay, good. So we've got a quick fire round now. So I'm going to say team, and you're pretty much just going to say which of the two drivers is going to win the most qualifying battles. We've got 23 races, so hopefully someone will win. So nice and quick, let me get the teams ready. You ready, Elijah?
Yeah, let's go.
Good. Mercedes.
Russell.
Red Bull.
Verstappen.
Ferrari.
Charles.
McLaren. That's the one.
Ricardo.
Alpine.
Ocon.
AlphaTauri.
Pierre.
Aston Martin.
Vettel.
Williams.
Albon.
Yeah, probably the only logical choice there. Alfa Romeo.
Bottas.
And Haas.
Schumacher.
Yeah. I see Will smiling in the corner. If you don't understand why that is, you can see week 3. Chinmay, same questions. Ready?
Yep.
Good. Mercedes.
Russell.
Red Bull.
Verstappen.
Ferrari.
I'm going to go Sainz.
McLaren.
Norris.
Alpine.
Alonso.
AlphaTauri.
Gasly.
Aston Martin.
Seb.
Williams.
Albon.
Alfa Romeo.
Valtteri Bottas.
And Haas.
Oh, that's a hard one. I think I'm going to
It's a hard one.
Oh. And then the last round, a little bit of fun. We're going to go for, you're going to pick one team that wasn't in the top 4, so no Mercedes, no Red Bull, no Ferrari, no McLaren, and one race. And you'll score the number of points that team scores at that race.
Okay.
So, Elijah, you got something in mind, or?
Okay, race. I don't know. I have Monza in mind. And I have AlphaTauri in mind again. And I have Pierre P3 and Tsunoda P5.
You don't have to guess what positions they end up in. That's all right.
So you can have an auto win if that is.
So 25 points for AlphaTauri around Monza.
Okay, so AlphaTauri at Monza. Again, you don't need to guess the number of points. You just you score that many and we'll add that up. Okay. Someone else went for that as well. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, I think.
I can't even remember.
No. And then Chinmay, if you got one, so one team, one race.
I'm probably going to go Aston Martin and Singapore.
Ooh, Singapore.
What do you think Seb's gonna?
Because Sebastian is the lion of Singapore.
He's
but not been on the calendar for 2 years. So I mean, if it's
a good one.
Yeah.
What we said with Will's one was that if it's not there, then you're just forfeiting it. I'm afraid.
Yeah, I feel like I might have wanted to say Suzuka, but I didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, I can't. Did you? Or did you change it?
I changed
Suzuka?
it to something.
All right, so that's the rules. If it gets cancelled, I'm afraid that's your points cancelled away. You're gonna stick with.
What if it gets
Singapore?
replaced?
No, I think
No.
it's got to be Singapore or nothing. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thanks, regular co-hosts. We've got Will and Chinmay in for your lovely suggestions. They were both excellent. And thanks to Kavin for coming back in. We didn't scare him off last time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Good, and thanks to Elijah, the first-time guest as well. I think I hesitate to call you the winner, but the one who suggested our eventual favourite, Jordan F1.
Thanks for having me as well.
No, you're welcome. We'll see you next week. Don't forget you can listen to the podcast on the Raw Sport Spotify or on the Warwick F1 Society YouTube page. Until next week, we'll see you then.